I'd like to introduce the members of our panels. I'm Violet Harris. I'm a professor at the University of Illinois. My research is in the area of children's literature. We have Jason Lowe, who is the publisher of Lee and Lowe. We have Adriana Dominguez, a literary agent. We have Jean Yang, comic author, illustrator. And we have K.T. Horney from the Children's Cooperative Training. I want each of our panelists to talk about a myth that exists with regard to diversity in children's literature.
So the myth that I chose two of them. There actually is a reason why I moved from editorial, which is where the bulk of my publishing experience is, to agenting. I became an agent 5 years ago after I got tired of hearing two things over and over again. One of them was diverse authors are difficult to find, and the other one is diverse books don't sell. And so I thought, given my background and that I had acquired a certain amount of experience in helping not only to publish but to promote works by authors of color, that I would apply some of that knowledge to actually help them get published, sort of go back to the beginning and sort of be on the author's side rather than on the publisher's side, if you will. So the first myth about authors being difficult to find. Now, our agency, I joined Full Circle because I had worked with Stephanie, who was the owner of the agency, on the editorial side, and I knew that she was very proactive about seeking diverse talent. And so when I thought about becoming an agent, I thought this is the sort of agency that I want to be a part of, an agency that is really, truly committed to diversity. And sort of it's not a speaking point for them, it's something they do day to day. The books that you see up there have all been published by an agency over a period of 1 year. So, as you can see, the commitment to diversity is not something that we talk about, but something that we follow through on. And this being a day of diversity in action, I thought that I would speak a little bit about this sort of the need that we have of, for a little bit more proactivity, sort of, following the, words with actions. And so, these books, as I said, have been published over a 1 year period. And they also speak to the second myth, which is that diverse books don't sell. Now, I think that there is an inherent assumption made with that statement that there is only one type of diverse book. And this, again, is also the reason why I really enjoy working for my agency, because we realize that all authors are individuals, and that being a Latino author or an African American author or any type of author really does not define your content or where your content will land or who will read your book. And so, if you look at this list, Taking Flight is a book that was published by Knopf. It's an international bestseller. We've sold it to about 10 territories throughout the world. Just sold the film rights to a major Hollywood studio. Ballerina Dreams is a companion book. It was also published by Knopf. It was named one of the New York Public Library's best books of 2014. It was also an Amazon.com's best book of the year. This book could have very easily have been reduced to, this is a book about a black ballerina. That's not what the book is. There is definitely, it's a memoir, just to give you a little bit of background. It is a memoir written by a black ballerina who happens to have been born in Sierra Leone, been orphaned by a brutal civil war, was then adopted by an American couple, brought to the United States, and eventually became what she always wanted to be, which was a ballerina. So there is a story there the sort of like the classic Cinderella story, only what is really amazing about this one is that it's a real life story that everyone all over the world has been sort of inspired by. So the readership for this book is much, much broader than what would, could very easily be assumed by just looking at the cover and seeing the black ballerina on it. The You're My Baby series is also, was named one of Parenting.com's best books of the year. And actually, she has the rare privilege of, this series was named one of 25 best baby books of all time, which was amazing. And she's Argentinian. Her books don't feature any diversity. They have animals on them. So, and her background is in graphic design, and so she created this really innovative format that has been very popular with parents. And this is who she is. The same goes for Little Melba and her Big Trombone, published by Lee and Lowe very well. And it's a book, it's a biography, it's a picture book biography by a little-known African-American jazz great who composed and arranged music for some of the best-known jazz musicians of all time. And this book has made a lot of buzz. You probably heard a little bit about it. It's had a little bit of buzz. It's a book that is very much sort of what we refer to as kind of an institutional book. But again, it was a book that was not easy to get published because Melba Liston, who's the subject of it, was not a very well-known African-American. And so this is why I think Lee and Lowe's function and all of this is so important. They saw the need to publish a book that was not only written beautifully, but that actually added to the contributed to African American history. A Dream Come Girl is a collaboration between Margarita Engel, who's a Newbery Honor winner, and Rafael Lopez. It's the first collaboration. We're very, very excited about that. Written in the Stars is a book about a Pakistani girl, published by Nancy Paulson Books by Penguin. Gabby Lost and Found was a really big surprise for us, and we learned a lot from that book. It's published by Scholastic. Scholastic assumed that the book clubs and book fairs would pick up this book and that it would sell well there. That book has sold over 300,000 copies of the book, Scholastic book clubs and book fairs, far exceeding their expectations. And so I think the lesson here, for me at least, and what I went into publishing knowing was that, having a Latino character or an African American character or author write a book does not define that book or where that book will end up. And so I would really like for us to really pause and think about that as we go through this day, because I think one of the reasons we keep having this conversation over and over again is because we separate these books from the rest of the books. We don't look at them as unique stories written by unique authors. And we also don't give readers a lot of credit for wanting to read books that are not about people like themselves, as in the case of Mikhail the Prince. And also, by the way, the case with Angela Cervantes, Gabby Lost and Found. I remember very funny, the book had been out for about a month, and she had visited a lot of different schools, and she said, I really can't wait to speak to a group of Latino kids. I haven't so far. And so, those are the moments where you sort of realize that you really are making a difference, and that difference really comes from the inside, from the way that you're looking at these things and giving other folks the opportunity to do the same.